A lot of these men that are out here saying you have to follow your passion. If you follow your passion, you'll never work a day in your life. Low key, I think a lot of them don't have the emotional awareness to discern and differentiate between hate, spite, insecurity, anxiety, a desire to dominate, stress, anger, and they group all these emotions together and misidentify it as passion. And actually, it's this group of emotions that motivates them and drives them to make a lot of money and to exploit people by any means necessary, and making it seem like that's being driven by passion. Like, bruh, you're actually driven by like a deep insecurity, probably bestowed upon you by your father who didn't hug you enough as a child.
Maybe your father didn't spend enough time with you. Maybe your mother didn't spend enough time. You didn't get the type of attention from your parents.
And now you feel like your identity and your material success is inextricably linked, and your self-worth comes only from how much money you make. That's just my hot take of the day. Hello, angels, baddies, and bitches. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Amber Killer. We're in the business of being hot and having fun, cute, chaotic, and critical thinking. I hope everyone is doing well. Follow me on all the things: Instagram, TikTok, Spotify for playlists, SoundCloud for mixes, Instagram for Instagram stories. And I guess I post TikToks on Reels as well sometimes when I can be bothered. Thank you for your support on the channel. Thank you for letting me know what resonates with you. It means a lot because it's literally what keeps me going. Okay, so today's topic is, I don't think everybody needs to be passionate about their job. Normalize not really giving a fuck about your work. So this is just my opinion and my observation, and it's not about being more like me, it's about being more yourself. But I'm just sharing this to put it out there. I kind of alluded to it on my Instagram story and I had a positive response to it. So I'm gonna sort of make like a longer form video here. So I personally believe that it's okay to not be obsessed with your job and for your job to not be your identity. Like, even for me, my work does put me in a semi-public facing position. Like, as a DJ, you're considered a performer, but I also do like behind the scenes type of work as well. So because you share things about your work and life, there is this assumption that life is so amazing because I do something that can be shared and is kind of like part of my identity or persona. But I don't think that that is necessary for work satisfaction. And I don't think that you have to aspire to a life that requires your job to be part of your identity. And I think especially now at the stage of capitalism that we're at and the type of work that a lot of people are doing, it's literally impossible to find meaning in sitting in an office for like 8 hours a day and like pushing around data and like sending emails. Like, if you don't feel like obsessed with your job and the nature of the work that you do is like not that interesting to you, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with you because you don't feel like enthralled by this experience and spending your time in that way. I don't think that you're born to work. I think you're born to figure out a way to reach your full potential, to be the hottest that you are and have the most fun at any given point in your life. And I think that this idea that you need to have your whole identity and your purpose around your job, not slay, okay? Especially with the way that like work is structured now. As long as you don't hate what you're doing and you can get money, do something that you're okay with so that you can explore passions, okay? You don't have to put all of your emotional and energetic resources into your job to firstly be good at it or to get anything out of it and to like get what you need in order to survive. And it doesn't mean that you have to quit your job necessarily, but you can shift your approach to work and you can better assign your attention and energy towards work so that you have boundaries around it and you can use the money that you get from your job to facilitate your life of being hot and having fun, okay? Being hot and having fun doesn't mean everything is ecstasy all the time. Ideally, you feel a sense of satisfaction in the things that you do, but you don't need to assume that all of your satisfaction needs to come from your job. And I think there was a time in my life where I felt like I had to do that. I don't know like what information I was exposed to at a young age. I think especially for millennials, there used to be a lot of hustle culture content on YouTube. And you kind of get sucked into this idea of success, meaning that you have to make all this money and then you'll be happy and then you'll be killing it and then everything will be amazing. And it's like, that's not necessarily the case. And I think, hot take, a lot of these men that are out here saying you have to follow your passion. If you follow your passion, you'll never work a day on your life. Low key, I think a lot of them don't have the emotional awareness to discern and differentiate between hate, spite, insecurity, anxiety, a desire to dominate, stress, anger, and they group all these emotions together and misidentify it as passion. And actually, it's this group of emotions that motivates them and drives them to make a lot of money and to exploit people by any means necessary, and to basically, like, what's it called when you have like blinders on? Just like zero in on achieving things in a professional context and making it seem like that's being driven by passion. Like, bruh, you're actually driven by like a deep insecurity, probably bestowed upon you by your father who didn't hug you enough as a child. And now you feel like your identity and your material success is inextricably linked, and your self-worth comes only from how much money you make. That's just my hot take of the day. And this is not for people who are in a like do or die situation. It's for people who are doing things and feel like they're dying. Okay, so if you have the privilege of feeling like your soul is being sucked out of your eyeballs at your job, I'm telling you that there are ways for you to either change your approach to work and just acknowledge that it's your job and you don't have to love your job and you don't have to have your job be your identity in order for you to make money or be successful or to have a successful life. Or you can change your job, okay? Like, I think that it's really important for people to understand that you don't have to tolerate bad working environments. Maybe in small doses, okay, there's always going to be compromise. You're always going to have to manage different personalities in an office. If you don't like working with other people, consider finding a way to work mostly alone. But never limit yourself to the situation that you're in if you're unhappy with it, okay? The fact that you're unhappy is an indicator that there are things that you can change. And it doesn't mean you have to throw the baby out with the bathwater and it's this or that. Sometimes it's like, okay, I've made a note, I'm not happy here. What can I do to either change my approach to what I'm doing, or can I look at other options to change my situation entirely, okay? So I think it's important to ask yourself, what kind of vibe are you looking for on a day-to-day basis and through your work, okay? And sometimes it does take experience for you to know what you like and what you don't like, but even if you think about your experience at school, what kind of learning did you enjoy, not enjoy? What kind of environment did you enjoy, not enjoy? In your life, what do you like, what do you not like? Because you're probably going to spend a lot of time working in this lifetime. Having a good understanding of what your values are and how you can align the type of work that you do with those values is going to make work feel much easier, and then you're naturally going to be able to get the most out of your job and the work that you do, versus just being in a constant state of anxiety and like sadness and ugly and having a bad time, trying to force yourself to enjoy something that you inherently don't like, okay? So I'll just give you an example for me. Personally, I value environments where I feel like I'm learning, okay? I need to be mentally stimulated in order to feel a sense of achievement, in order to feel a sense of satisfaction. And I also enjoy aspects of novelty, doing random things like and side quests, okay? That's things that I enjoy. Not everybody enjoys that. Some people, they just want familiarity, they want stability, they want predictability, and I prefer like a little bit of unpredictability. So when I first was working in an office after I graduated from university and I first moved to Shanghai, that was an environment that I was lucky enough to be in an office environment, okay? I was learning at a very rapid pace because what I was working in was not something that I studied, and it was very hands-on. I was working closely with managers, working closely with talent, working closely with clients, and I was learning a lot. And there was also this aspect of novelty because I'd be doing this one day, doing something else another day. And at the same time, that was still not enough to mentally stimulate me. So I was also creating a portfolio around DJing, and then also like a women and LGBTQ centered DJ workshop program. Like, I was doing all kinds of stuff because I need to be learning and I need novelty. Then my office job, at some point, they brought someone on board who was more corporate minded, and then they tried to create these like rigid processes and structures within the office. And they weren't even like, it didn't even make sense to me, okay? It was like actually so inefficient what they were doing. So where previously I was like engaged, working on pitches, working on shoots, talking to a client, talking to the creative director, blah, blah, blah. Now I was just stuck behind my computer, writing pitches that made literally no sense because I wasn't being briefed properly, sitting in 3-hour meetings where we didn't achieve anything. My notes were like, what is this? I was literally internet shopping during meetings, and then I was watching TV in the office because I had nothing to do. I was on top of like my side hustle, and then I had free time to, I remember so specifically, I was sitting in the office watching Umbrella Academy on my laptop. Like that's how boring it got. And then my side hustle started to do better, and I was so unhappy in the office, not looking forward to going. I tried to negotiate working part-time instead so that I could build more on DJing, etc. But most companies don't want you to do that, okay? They want you locked in and they want you available all the time. And they made me choose. They were like, no, sorry, you either do this or you do that. And I was like, well, sorry, what you're paying me and what you're offering me is nowhere near interesting enough relative to what I could be doing. And I was also in a privileged position at the time to be able to say no to the full-time job and take the risk of doing the side hustle. And each person's situation is going to be different, and you need to assess according to where you're at and not like what I've previously done. You are the only person that can determine what you're comfortable taking a risk or not taking a risk on, okay? And sometimes you just have to microdose risk as well. 1 unit of energy that you put into your job, you now reallocate to a side hustle or to finding a new job or building a skill that's going to make you more viable for the next job, etc., etc. So think creatively. So the key is to understand what your values are and like what your itch is. It's not like one thing is my passion. I'm passionate about living a full life, about being hot and having fun and finding that balance between my work, my hobbies, my social life, my time alone, my friends, my family, romance. Like I feel like the love of my life is me. And also this idea that you have to monetize every hobby. As soon as you put like a profit and losses sheet against a hobby, your relationship with the hobby changes forever. Something that you did purely out of enjoyment and now you're doing it for profit, that's going to change your relationship with what you do, because now you have clients, now you have a boss, now you have an audience, maybe now you have customers, and your relationship with the thing that you do is going to change forever when you try to do that. You know, when I posted about it on Instagram, someone told me that they went through a phase where they were taking commissions for their art and they hated it. You know, the thing that they started to do out of pure joy, they were now doing for other people, and they no longer enjoyed it anymore because it wasn't for themselves. So I personally take the approach of like do something for the audience and then do something for yourself, or just do what you want and don't feel entitled to people liking it or getting paid for it, you know, anytime soon. Everyone's tolerance is different. Some people are like, I do what I want the way that I want it, and I will not and I will never compromise. That's just some people's personality type, okay? Other people are a lot more flexible, and some people are like, I only care about the money. Making the money is what makes me excited. I don't care if the thing is good or not. I'm just going to do whatever it takes to get money. So this is like a spectrum, you know, and everyone sits differently, and you move up and down the spectrum. Maybe you explore different parts and you find something that works for you. But I think this idea that you have to be passionate about your job and that your job needs to be your identity is very short-sighted, especially with the way that capitalism is structured now, and especially from the people that are saying it, okay? Like, I don't believe that these men that are saying like, oh, work, do something you love and you never work a day in your life. I think like live a life that you love, and work will just be a part of it. You know, work won't feel that difficult. It's not like delusion of like, I wake up every day and I'm just like so excited to go to the office. Like what? And give a PowerPoint presentation to a bunch of people who aren't even listening to you. And don't feel like just because you're doing something now, you have to do it forever. Life is actually really long, and you just never know what's around the corner. So I don't think that you have to be passionate about your job, and that like if you do something you're passionate about, you'll never work a day in your life. I think it's important to be passionate about life in general and living a full life and being hot and having fun and defining it for yourself on a granular level. And then work will just be part of it. You'll not feel like work is that hard. some thoughts and feelings for anyone that this might resonate with. Let me know what you thought. Yeah, leave a comment. Thank you so much for all the feedback. Love you lots. Drink lots of water. Tell your friends and family that you love them. Stay hot and having fun. Speak soon. Love y'all.